Vice President Biden, Vice President. That was a joke. It is good to be back in the White House. It's been a while.
It's been a while and a lot's happened. That's what it looks like when 44 jokes with 46. The band back together. Former President Obama was back at the White House for the very first time since leaving office. For some reason, he didn't make it there during the last presidency. And this was not just a reunion, although it was that, and there was some fun parts we'll show you. But the point was to celebrate and mark how Obamacare is working for Americans around the nation. Biden also has plans to fortify the law, which is something that Obama and Biden always said would be an ongoing process because they were rewiring the private health care markets in America. Now they want to open it up to another 5 million people by basically closing what had emerged as a loophole. Obama also brought some levity today.
I think it's been well documented just how difficult it was to pass the ACA. I intended to get health care passed, even if it cost me re-election, which for a while looked like it might. And let's face it, it didn't help that when we first rolled out the ACA, the website didn't work. That was not one of my happiest moments. To quote a famous American, a pretty big deal.
Now, wait a minute. Is that the line? You know, we're the news. We will fact check a joke. We're not above that on the beat. Let's take a look back at what then Vice President Biden actually said.
Barack Obama.
It might never get old, at least not between the two of them, because Obama obviously decided to bring it up today. So that is the reasoning, that is the healthcare policy, and that is also some of the fun when you unite two people. And Joe Biden said it himself, nobody owes more to Barack Obama in politics and public life than Joe Biden. So Obama also used this time, though, to remind people how he approaches politics. You may recall the talk of hope and bipartisanship and reaching across the aisle. He did that, but he also tried to make sure everyone understands that there are differences here and that political leadership means hammering those, too.
Republicans tried to repeal what we had done again and again and again. And they filed lawsuits that went all the way to the Supreme Court 3 times. So given all the noise and the controversy and the skepticism, today the ACA hasn't just survived, it's pretty darn popular. And the reason is because it's done what it was supposed to do. It's made a difference.
It has made a difference, and the Obama plan was basically pitted against a lot of no's. Indeed, Republicans tried and failed to repeal Obamacare over 70 times. Most Americans now back this law, which was initially greeted as a fairly polarized piece of legislation. You see it growing a bit over time, 55%, something of a high point right now. At the White House, there were warm vibes, there was good energy, there was hugs, and, well, Joe Biden sooner or later was going to get in on it and crack some jokes of his own.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president. We just had lunch together, and we weren't sure who was supposed to sit where. So now I'm going to sign an executive order. And Barack, let me remind you, it's a hot mic. Feels like the good old days. Being here with you brings back so many good memories.
Got to watch out for those hot mics. Anyone who works near a mic knows about that. Obama and Biden were often an odd couple at first. Now we think of them as somewhat synonymous politically, and the internet has always enjoyed that. There were memes that showed Obama and Biden becoming a kind of a DJ duo, the politicians. That's a play on the word lit. You can see how funny that is. Or Obama imagining basically that he'd have to tell Biden over and over, stop copying me. And then, of course, the friendship bracelets, because they did seem to have a kinship. This was the Joe and Barack thing. This actually went pretty viral back in the day, maybe in a simpler time. Biden talked about that back in 2018.
All those memes, they're basically true. Except I want to make it clear, He made the first friendship bracelet, not me.
Now, Biden is looking to strengthen his poll numbers right now. Democrats see what could be a tough midterm election. Many acknowledge they need a spark, whether it's what Obama did, said, or the example today. Can they get one? When we turn to someone who worked for Obama and some other Democrats, Jay Comandori, when we're back in just 1 minute.
We have to be able to repair the enamel on a daily basis. With Pro Enamel Repair Toothpaste, we can help actively repair enamel in its weakened state. It's innovative. My go-to toothpaste is going to be Pro Enamel Repair.
They found me. Nice suits. You guys blend right in.
The world needs you back.
I'm retired, Greg. You know this.
People have their money just sitting around doing nothing.
That's bad. They shouldn't do that.
They're getting crushed by inflation.
Well, I feel for them.
They're taking financial advice from memes.
I'll get my onesies.
Good to have you back, old friend.
Yeah, eyes on the road, Benny.
Welcome to a new chapter in investing. E-Trade, now from Morgan Stanley.
One of the coolest things about Experian Boost is that it's free.
I get my credit report, I get my credit score, and boost my credit all for free.
Get your credit report, score, and boost it all for free. Download the Experian app now.
Obama's back at the White House, and Obama campaign veteran Jay Comandori is back on the beat. And if I may compliment them and knock us, your return here, far less important than his return there, but we're happy to have you, buddy.
It's a very important return. Glad to be here, though.
You know, you look at all this, there's so many layers to it. You pointed something out that, you know, we might not realize or that passes us by, and I want you to break it down. You pointed out that when Donald Trump was actually in office, no former presidents visited him at the White House, a total break with tradition, not just Obama, and that most presidents find themselves more popular when they leave the White House. That's true in Obama's case, at least compared to some of his lower points, and not true with Trump. You tie that all together, how does that relate to what we saw today?
Well, I think there's several different layers to what we saw today, but the first is what you just brought up, the historical nature of this. What Biden is doing, and what big focus of his presidency, is to restore the pre-Trump Democratic norms. And one of those is to have former presidents back in the White House, back in the Oval Office. That is something that Donald Trump never did. It was one of the many precedents, one of the many norms that he broke. One of the things that Trump wanted to always do was break with tradition, break with history. And he did it day by day, norm by norm, precedent by precedent, tradition by tradition. And ultimately, that culminated in January 6th, where you keep breaking those norms one by one, and then finally you have a coup on your hands. And that's exactly what Trump did. That's what Biden is seeking to undo, and that's a big part of this. The second thing is obviously midterms are coming up. Barack Obama is the most popular person in the country politically. He is extremely popular among Democrats. He's extremely popular among independents. And that's someone Democrats and Democratic candidates want to be associated with. His positivity, his optimism, his forward-looking vision, his intellect, and also the ACA as a sign that Democrats are about a government that works effectively for the American people and really helps to improve their lives. And it's really a break away from sort of the culture wars you see Republicans engaging with. And then finally, I'll say there's a cultural element to this, which is, you know, Barack Obama really symbolized something more than just himself. You know, there is a very famous line in The Dark Knight where Batman says, you know, as a man, I can be defeated. As a man, I can be ignored. But as a symbol, I am everlasting. You know, Trump really didn't want to just defeat Obama the bill or Obama the man. He wanted to defeat Obama the symbol of a diverse democratic country. That's a symbol that Joe Biden and Democrats want people to carry in their hearts. That's the symbol that Trump and the GOP want people to forget.
How does that relate to dying a hero or living long enough to be a villain?
Well, I think unfortunately for Donald Trump, I think from the minds of many people, he is already the villain. But I do think that one of the things that goes to is the idea that historical legacies can change over time. You know, and Barack Obama, when he was president, and I remember it well, you know, it was a very stormy presidency. He wasn't always the most popular person in the country. You can look at what happened.
Which he joked about.
Etc. Yeah, and he joked about it today. And the ACA is a classic example of that, where this was an incredibly unpopular piece of legislation until the American people actually experienced its benefits and actually experienced having pre-existing conditions covered and not having to worry about pre-existing conditions and healthcare coverage. And that has sort of changed. So I would say that what happened with the ACA and with Barack Obama is in many ways a reversal of the famous line in The Dark Knight about being a hero and living long enough to being the villain. It's the actual opposite that's occurred for both Obama and ACA.
Yeah, you're dropping real science on several points. I mean, one of them on healthcare is also, as you say, a reminder to people over time that a government program, and this was, again, a pretty moderate private public sector coordination, but still a long-term government program can deliver benefits for people over time. That's what the healthcare does. That's why it has higher approval ratings than Biden or Trump. It has high approval ratings because a lot of people are using it, even if they happen to be moderate, conservative, Republicans, et cetera. Two, you're not the only one who can quote Dark Knight, Che, and so I think we've both proven that here. But the timeless themes of Batman, which go back decades, because it starts from the comic book era and all the way up, however, it's been rebooted, and I know there's a new one out now I haven't seen yet. The whole thing with the Joker is the Jokers of society will test you in criminal, corrupt, or political ways, and they don't play by your rules. So, yes, we've talked plenty about Trump, and this was a contrast today, as you say, but there are Jokers affiliated with QAnon or the people, auditioning to try to be, in their mind, the next MAGA figure. And a lot of what they're doing, as you say, with norm busting is precisely trying to say, look, they can prove their power by showing their side that they can make everything up for debate. Nothing matters. Nothing is real. Nothing is true. Nothing is unassailable. And there's a kind of an appeal for certain people to that, but the way you deal with that is actually proving that things work. And that's a big difference I want to ask you about and play a little bit of Obama because he talks about the health care bill. That would seem to be a difference between a long-term program and funding. Right. A lot of people think the Biden funding was good and a good start and its popularity. We've shown on this program Republicans who voted against it claiming that they're for it because it's popular. But in 5 or 10 years, the child care tax credit will expire and the other money will be spent, and it won't be the same as the ACA. And I thought that hung over today, too. Take a listen to Obama on the ACA.
I know how discouraged people can get with Washington. Progress feels way too slow sometimes. Victories are often incomplete. But what the Affordable Care Act shows is that you are driven by the core idea that together we can improve the lives of this generation and the next, and are willing to work through the obstacles and the criticism and continually improve where you fall short. You can make America better.
That was the pitch, Che. It wasn't Pollyannish, but it was positive. How does that relate to something else you've raised, which is that since Obama left the stage, American politics has been sour, divisive, angry, and I'll say it, and I try to be positive, Che, depressing a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's very depressing, and I would attribute that to maybe 3 particular figures: Donald Trump, Rupert Murdoch, and Mark Zuckerberg, and what they've all done to make it sour. And the reason American politics has become sour is because a lot of politicians have forgotten exactly what Barack Obama just said in that clip, which is government can make the lives of people better. Politics has become something, it's become about cultural contests. It's been about cultural sort of fights. You see that very much with the Republicans today. They really want to fight this midterm on cultural issues. Matt Gaetz today to General Austin, or Secretary Austin, was talking about wokeism in the military. Ron DeSantis was talking about the Don't Say Gay bill and his war against Disney. It's all about these cultural fights. And it's very important for Democrats to move the message and move the national conversation back to economics, to pocketbook issues, and to making the lives of people better. And how do we do that? We do that with things like the child care tax credit. We do that with things like the ACA.
Yeah. So Trump, Murdoch, Zuckerberg, you see as the villains driving this. also would make a heck of a dinner party. I don't know if you could get a word in, Che.
No, it's actually very much like a Legion of Doom. For comic book fans, they knew exactly what Legion of Doom was, sort of an alliance of all the supervillains. That's exactly what that trio is. And the fight that they fight is a cultural fight. And today was very important. We need to move the conversation back away from culture towards economics.
Or maybe like an Andy Warhol Last Supper of dystopian politics.
Yeah, that would actually be, and it also, I think the food would probably be pretty terrible considering what Donald Trump's dietary habits are known to
Che, we've been around the world and back, and we ended on cheeseburgers, and maybe that's the light at the end of the proverbial political tunnel. I will say you've given us food for thought, even if it's unhealthy food that Trump eats. That's my best ending. Thank you, Che.
Yeah, I don't want to call out a specific fast food company that he favors for fear of repercussions, both for myself and for you. But, it was not the healthiest diet that he followed, that's for sure.
Well, now you're getting personal. I mean, we don't do endorsements, but I do go to Five Guys when I can. Just saying. Good to see you, Che.
I love Five Guys. Tremendous fries.
Peace. Che mentioned this echo from Ron DeSantis's